Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. See, we should also know that this Upanishad belongs to Yajurveda, and the Shanti mantra. The Shanti mantra of Yajurveda is Purnamadah Purnamidam. So that is why it is chanted in the beginning. See, the custom is that the Shanti mantra to which the Upanishad, to the Veda to which the Upanishad belongs, that Shanti mantra is to be chanted, the Shanti mantra of that particular Veda. And since Purnamadaha is the Shanti mantra of Yajurveda, that is what is chanted. So that is the reason why we chant this Shanti mantra. So in the morning, we discussed how the context, how the ground is all set for the need for sannyasa, the need for Yajnavalkyaji to take sannyasa. As we saw in the first chapter, that the importance of Brahma Vidya is shown, Atma is shown as the most important thing to be known in life. At the same time, the absence of this knowledge, in the absence of the knowledge of the self, there is nothing but unhappiness, insecurity, fear. All that is also shown in the Upanishad. Samsara is also described. All the achievements that can be gained from samsara are also described in the first chapter. But when the person analyzes all this, examines all this, and finds that he is not interested in them, what he wants is something that is not limited, not bound by time, place, and it is limitless. And limitless is not something that is found anywhere in this entire creation. And then that is why he is not interested in the achievements of this creation. One has to think in this manner, and then only one can arrive at this conclusion. Because either you go and acquire everything, which is not going to be possible. This whole lifetime is not enough for that. So what we need to do is to think. We cannot just let an experience just pass by. An experience is telling us something. Each and every experiences of life are telling us something. It is telling every time that I don't have what you are seeking. This is what our experiences with the objects are pointing our attention to. provided we pay a note to it. If we just let it pass by, then we will not understand this, even though it is telling us. So from childhood onwards, we have been experiencing, enjoying different objects of the world. And each and every experience shows the limitations. But still, if we just let them pass by, then it doesn't have anything to give us. But there are some people who can think in this manner. And that is also, the result of their mind which has become mature. See, if we are very attentive, and if we live our life according to dharma, according to the moral conducts and the ethics, then we gain a mind which will come to understand this. This is also told very beautifully showed in this Upanishad. See, this Upanishad, BrhadaranyakaUpanishad, the name that it has, Brihadaranyaka, is also very important. It says something that it is big, not only big in the size, but also in substance. Both it is great, not only in terms of size, but also in terms of substance, in terms of what it has to confer. Plus Aranyaka, which means it is to be studied in the forest. So this is what the name Brihadaranyaka means. It describes, it shows a very varied and gamut experiences of life. The whole gamut of experiences and varied colors of life are shown. By that, covering the entire life. And as we just said, that if we are intelligent and if we live our life according to dharma, then this Upanishad says, Tametam Vedanu Vachanena Brahmanaha Vividishanti Yagnena Danena Tapasa Anashakena. Which means, when you live your life according to the codes of conduct, moral ethics, etc., by yajna, dana, tapasa, that is how it is described there. Which means a life of giving, life of austerity, life of contributing. Which means when you live your life intelligently, then automatically jignasa is created. Automatically there are questions in your mind as to what is important in life. What is it that I have come here for? What is the meaning of life? What is the goal of life? These are not ordinary questions. These are not ordinary considerations. They don't occur in every mind. It occurs in only certain mature minds who have lived their life in an intelligent manner. Intelligence, by intelligence, what we mean here is in a mature way. See, just becoming adult, for becoming adult, we don't have to do anything. By nature, you gain that maturity. But for the mind to get evolved, for the mind to become mature, one has to live very, very consciously, according to dharma. Dharma is the safe way, is a guaranteed way rather, which makes you mature, which makes you very, you just don't let things pass by. You weigh all the pros and cons. What am I gaining? What am I losing? And all that I am gaining also is at what cost? And then when you count what is the net profit, all this in life, when one thinks in this manner, then one arrives at this conclusion that what I am seeking is not out there. Everything is limited. Yes, this person may still not know as to where it is, but at least it is not in what I am looking. And so the desire or the jignasa is now very intense. I just want to know what is the truth. Just as it developed in Arjuna. We see Arjuna who has come to fight in the battlefield, and suddenly seeing his own kith and kins, his own near and dear ones, he develops, he sinks in the ocean of sorrow. He who was all enthused to fight, and he who even asked his charioteer, Lord Krishna, to place the chariot between the two armies so that he can view them all very well. And then Lord Krishna, when he very deliberately placed the chariot right in front of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya, and Arjuna views everyone, and then suddenly and slowly he sinks in sorrow. Why? Because he loses seeing his own people on both the sides. He loses all his motivation, all his enthusiasm to fight. He forgets, now his mind is actually deluded. He forgets what is his dharma. And krupaya paraya vishtaha. His heart is filled with compassion, but this compassion is misplaced. You cannot afford to be you cannot afford to have this kind of compassion in battlefield. And he forgets that he is a leader, he is kshatriya, he is warrior, he is supposed to protect dharma. But still this happens. But in this critical moment, this moment spurred, it triggered his thinking in altogether a different direction. And what did he realize at that moment? That everything in this life is limited. And so far I never gave a thought to this. My long life has passed. I have achieved so much. Arjuna was a very successful person. But now he feels that I have not achieved anything. I have never used my intellect. I have been a krupana, which means I have been a miser. I used my intellect only in getting things of the world, in getting those kind of achievements which have led me nowhere. And today, I feel that nothing can erase. Nothing and nothing can erase and eliminate the intense sorrow which I am going through. He realizes that nothing, even if we win the kingdom, even if we get the unrivaled kingdom of the three worlds, not only of Hastinapur, but even of the three worlds if I get, nahi prapashyami mamapanudhyadya chokamuchoshanam indriyanam. He says very clearly that the sorrow which is troubling me now, renting me apart, will not go, even if I get the kingdom of the three worlds. Why? Because it doesn't have the power to give me or to remove the vacuum that I'm feeling within. And that time, He realizes the limitations of all the achievements, and he says, now in this, when he is surrounded or he is sunk in this topical problem, he becomes aware of a fundamental problem within himself. He realizes that there is emptiness at the core. At the core of his personality, there is emptiness. And this emptiness has all along been there. Not that it has arisen now. It was always there. See, in our life also, this we are not talking only about Arjuna. In our life also, this kind of emptiness is there. Unless we know the self, which is the source of happiness, the source of contentment, this unhappiness is bound to be there. Only the sad can become sad. He was always sad. Because in spite of fulfilling the different desires, the desirer never went away. One by one, desires were fulfilled. But the desirer was always there. He remained intact. The objects of desire kept on changing, one after the other. But who was always there? The desirer. He never went. And today, Arjuna notices that, makes note of that. What about this? Why this emptiness? Why doesn't it go? What have I done in my life? So much of life has already passed. And I never gave a thought to this. And today, he faces it squarely. And fortunately, Lord Krishna is there before him. And it strikes to him that my charioteer has the answer to this. That also, then otherwise you don't come to know. Lord Krishna was there with him all along. He was his bosom friend. But it never occurred to him to ask this of Lord Krishna. And today, he stands still in the battlefield. He has given up his bow and arrow. And now, he tells Lord Krishna what? Yat shreyasyat nishchitam tanme bruhi. That which is definitely good in life, that which is going to give definite result, not bound, not subject to coming and going. Please tell me about that. I don't want anything less than that. I want that. This is what he discovered. And this is not the result, this is not a sudden thing. Only when you live a life in certain manner, then it culminates in this way. It doesn't, in every bosom, this question doesn't come. This kind of questions doesn't bother everyone. Ko nama bandha, in Vivek Chudamani, it comes, Shishya comes, the student comes to the teacher with questions, Ko nama bandha, katamesha agataha. What is this thing called bondage? How did it come about? What is the solution to this? Who will ask such questions? In which bosom will it arise? Not in everyone. So that is also, when you live a life in certain manner, then it pays off. When such curiosity, when such jignasa arises, then the life that you have lived so far has paid off. And here also, we find that this person is now, there is now dispassion, vairagya in such a person. He wants to now know what is the truth. Where is immortality? And then, when that happens, you are ready to give up. So, Shruti, Upanishad, this Upanishad, now is going to give us the Akhyayika, a story, the story of Yajnavalkya and his wife. By that, Upanishad says, Bhashyakara says, that sannyasa is implied. Sannyasa is not enjoined in so many words, but it is implied by the story or the anecdote of Yajnavalkya and his wife, the dialogue which takes place between them, which we are going to say, which shows that we have to be very clear. Shruti, Upanishad doesn't want you to just give up without thinking, but it is a need. See, there comes a time in life when you want to give time to yourself as to who you are, and that is our responsibility. It is our kartavya, duty towards ourselves. We have fulfilled to some extent and to large extent. We have fulfilled our duties towards others, gained a lot in life, but one thing is still left out. What? My responsibility towards myself. And what is that? What is that? That I should know myself. That is also a kartavya. And when person awakes to that, then he is ready to give up. Now see, you need not really give up. But definitely, we can live a life, a committed life, where we devote our maximum time, if possible, to our pursuit of knowledge, to finding out the real happiness. And now when it becomes clear, becomes clear that it is in the self, it is the self, the real source of happiness, then you can commit yourself to knowing that. And that is what Shruti is implying. Because now the use of karma is over. Karma is very important, very, very important. So far, it was the means to achieve what I don't have. But now I have realized that nothing can give me the satisfaction which I want. So, the need of karma is now over. As they say, vastu siddhi vicharena chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu upalabdaye. Karma is definitely useful, not for self-gratification, but definitely for purification of heart. When the heart is purified, when the antakarana is ready, it is mature. For knowledge, this kind of mind is definitely required. Mind which is ready for the knowledge, which is ready to grasp and retain the knowledge, that kind of mind is required. And when we live a life of karma yoga, life of offering, life of receiving the results as prasada buddhi, as graceful acceptance, then the mind is quiet, then the mind is receptive. So that framework of the mind is needed for knowledge. It is definitely needed. But when that mind is gained, now use it. Use that mind for the knowledge of the self. Knowledge of the self, as I said, requires a certain mind, prepared mind. But when that mind is gained through a life of karma yoga, through a life of prayer and attitudes and values, when that mind is gained, now use it. Use it for what? because it is all ready. It is all like sponge. When the sponge is there and when the water, etc., is spilled, then it absorbs. Similarly, the mind is now all ready. Then use it for gaining the knowledge of the self. And it is only in such a mind that the knowledge will remain and you will be able to abide. Because Atma is such a subject. It is subtler than the subtlest. It is not something which you can perceive. We are used to gaining the knowledge of the objects which we can perceive, of the things which we can infer. But self doesn't fall in that category. It is right here, but you don't know about it. And it is bereft of all qualifications, name, form, attributes, karma. How to know that? But still it can be known. It definitely can be known because it is your very self. But for that, an equally subtle mind is required. Kathopanishad says, Drushyate tvagraya buddhya, sukshmaya sukshmadarshibhi, atma is gudaha, esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudotma na prakashate. Atma is definitely subtle and hidden in a place where you never even suspect. You never even suspect that I am that which I am seeking. Seeker himself is the sought. You never suspect. But it can be known, definitely be known by a mind which is equally subtle. And subtle means what? Pure. Subtle means what? It is transparent. It is pure. Neutralized. Totally neutralized of all the raga, dvesha, kama, krodha, lobha. All these impurities have left. And in the wake of that, mind is now all pure. In this, it is such a mind which can reflect the self, which is right there. Just as the mirror can reflect my face, when I want to look at my face, mirror is the medium, mirror is the means. But when can that mirror reflect my face? When it is clean, when you have scrubbed it well. Only then and then it will reflect. Similarly, when will the mind be conducive? When it will become a means to know the self? When it is clean. Clean means pure, plus focused. All focused, sharp. This kind of mind is imperative. But when that happens, then you can give up if you want to. You may not literally by form take sannyasa. Need not. We are not asking anybody to give up their homes. No. But definitely where you are, you can live a committed life. Your goal should be very clear to you. For a mature person, there are no more choices. It is choiceless for them as to what I have to do in life. Only to an unintelligent person, there are many choices. That let me do this, let me take up this for some time, then this. Goals keep on changing. When you are not mature, when you are not intelligent, today this, tomorrow that, nothing wrong with that. But still, things appear promising to you. Things and the world appears promising. As long as that is there, my mind has not become introvert. It has not gained the direction. And so it meanders in life, in samsara, today there. But we are talking of a mind which is like a river with two banks, clear-cut banks. Now this river flows directly. There are no islands in between now. When the river doesn't have a bank, you find that it is like a big ocean, and in between there are islands. So the energy or the flow is scattered. Similarly, in our mind also, when the goal is not clear, this is what I want in life, and this is where it is. When this is not clear, then the energy of our mind, our time, our emotions, all this gets scattered. There are many things in the world to distract us. Everything distracts us. Today this, tomorrow that. And then, in this manner, time ebbs away. Whereas, we are talking about a person for whom all this is done with. Lord Krishna says, Vyavasayatmika buddhihi eka iha kurunandana. The determination is one. The goal is one. And now the path is also clear. For this person, the goal as well as the map leading to that goal is clear. And so, he now pursues, he wants to pursue only that. Then, to such a person, shamaha karanamuchyate. Lord Krishna, yoga rudasya tasyaiva. For one whose mind has attained this yoga, means it is already joined, already prepared. For such a person, now what is the means? So far the means was karma. Karma yoga, that was the means. But now for the same person, tasyaiva, so far he was living a life of karma yoga. But as a result of that, and the mind is already prepared, for the same person now, what is the means? Lord Krishna says, Tasyiva shamaha karanamuchyate. Now the means is shamaha. Shamaha means now you pursue your goal, giving up all the other commitments, all the other preoccupations which were so far occupying you, you give up that. You can now. Otherwise, this cannot be told to everyone. Everybody cannot be said that you can, at the exclusion of everything, you follow a life of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Everybody cannot be told this. Do whatever you are doing. The general instruction will be, do whatever you are doing. Perform your duties. And along with that, you can pursue the knowledge of the self. Do Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhya. You can do that. But there are exceptions. There are some exceptions to whom Shruti can say, you can give up. Not to everyone, but to some. Because for such a person now, karma has fulfilled all its purpose. All its purpose is fulfilled. And in such a person, karma can now become a distraction. Why? Because now he is all ready. And then karma also has its own demands. Action has its own demands. Duties have its own demands. And when we have so many duties, then they also, when we fail to perform them, then there is some guilt feeling. Because when you don't do what you have to do in a life of householder, when you are in your homes, when you don't do what is to be done as a part of your role, as a part of your duty, then you may not do it, but then inside there will be some guilt feeling. I did not do it. Today, I failed to do it. So that also becomes a distraction, understand. When there is something, the compulsion that I have to do, this have to business, that I have to go, I have to do, that also becomes a distraction now for this person. You understand what I am saying? For this person who now wants all his attention in knowing the self, in listening about the self, that is what he is all now ready for. For such a person, now karma can become a distraction. Sense of duty can also become a distraction. That also can disturb him. I'll give you an example. That when we are meditating and suddenly we remember, no, still cooking is left. So then in that, I have to do this, pack his lunch box, this, etc. So many things. Or say if we talk about, we can give you other example also. I want to today, I'm all enjoying. I want to listen. I want to sit and concentrate on myself. At that time you remember that that deal is to be done, that letter is to be written, I have to meet that client. Then that will not allow you. There is a distraction. It will make you get up. And even if you don't get up, then the mind is now, the chitta vrittis are all different. So you understand? For this person, now the purpose is over. That is also very beautifully mentioned in this Upanishad. For this person says, what will I do with all this? So far, I wanted this world. That is how the context is there in this Upanishad. So I needed a son. Then I wanted Pitruloka, so I needed karma. I want to go to other different realms. Then upasana is required. But what I don't want, kim prajaya karishyamaha, he says. What will I do with progeny? What will I do with wealth? What will I do with all this security? All this has become a big burden to me. Why? For whom? Yesha no ayam atma ayam lokaha. Now for me, what is the realm? Not those three worlds. But what is the realm where I want to abide? Atma lokaha. Yesha no ayam atma ayam lokaha. For me, what is the use of all that? It has its place, wonderful. That is not a matter of criticism. But now, for me, it is over. I have nothing to do with it. I want all my time, all my energy for something else, for a higher goal. So, even Jabala Shruti says, what? Yadhareva virajet, tadhareva pravrajet. This is a Jabala, in this mantra occurs in Jabala Upanishad. Yadhareva virajet. When you find this intense, this passion, vairagya in you, you may leave. Today now if we leave, where will we go? In earlier times it was okay. But wherever you are, you can plan for this. You can plan for this. Or minimize your needs. Minimize, your expectations are no more there. But you can live a very simple life. Plan for it. Plan it well. So that you are self-sufficient and you can live this kind of life without or with minimum distractions. Even in India, in our tradition, this is recognized. And there is a value for this, for sannyasa, for giving up. And society supports this because innately they recognize that this is the truth. And there are some on the path of this, so let us support them. There is value for this. In Bharatiya Sanskriti, there is a value for that. So they support, and it is sanctioned. It may not be found everywhere. But definitely in Vedic tradition, this was, society gives sanction to that. That yes, we will take care of you. You may go and pursue a life of knowledge. Because everybody innately knows that this is the truth. And so, such a time comes in life. That is what has happened with Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya is a famous sage that we find in BrhadaranyakaUpanishad. In fact, he was a very famous householder too. As a householder also, he was very well known. He was a very recognized person. In fact, he never wanted to get married. But his teacher is supposed to be, here he had many teachers, he learned from many of them. But one was God's son, Surya Devata was his teacher. And Yajnavalkya was perfect in everything, in Karma Kanda and in everything. So after having learned from him, when he's ready to give dakshina, that at that time, Surya Devata said that may you enter into the life of householder, grihasthashram. You take up that. Yajnavalkya didn't want it. Why? But because he was an accomplished person. He is a person who can even lead society. So, for that reason, set an ideal. For all that, Surya Devata wanted him to take up the grihasthashrama. So he was a married person. And he had two wives. One is Maitreyi and other is Gargi. Having lived this life for a long time, then Yajnavalkya ji one day decides to give up. This is the story. This is the anecdote that is told here. And then a dialogue occurs between him and his wife, Maitreyi. But Shruti, Upanishad here tells us that this anecdote, this Akhyayika of Yajnavalkya and his wife, the dialogue between them, is given by the Shruti to enjoin sannyasa, to show the importance of living a committed life. Because that is what Yajnavalkya ji is doing. And through that, through his story, Shruti is implying sannyasa. Not in so many words, but implies that this kind of life, a committed lifestyle is required. Even otherwise, why talk of this knowledge of the self? Even when you are doing your PhDs, in offices also they give you leave for that. When exams are approaching, then we just commit ourselves to study. Don't go for movies, restaurants, meeting friends, television. Everything is given up for 1 or 2 months or for some time. Why? So that we can study. So that there are no distractions. We can just do this. Don't call me. Mother will even give the food to the child in his room. Mothers are, ready to serve the children so that you study. And the child also wants to give all his time to that. Important thing. When you take up anything which requires time, when you want all your focus to be single-pointed, then things have to be given up. And that is the need, that is the idea behind sannyasa. Understand that it is a lifestyle, a very, very compatible lifestyle, very conducive lifestyle for the goal which you want to pursue. It is a very compatible lifestyle where minimum needs are there. We have seen that there are sages who give up everything, don't keep anything with them. They are just dependent. They leave themselves upon Ishvara. Ishvara will take care of them. They just give themselves to this study. That is what, why? So that they can pursue this without any distractions. So that is what is now beginning. So we will begin the mantra now. We'll read that passage. The very first, on page number 22. In your handout, page number 22. See, here the mantra is given, the passage is given, and below that, the translation in English is also given. Did you find? And then below that, Shankaracharyaji's commentary is also given. You need not worry about that, but when you are in your rooms, you can read that if you want, it will help. But we will be discussing the passage. So, I am reading that. You repeat after me. Maitreyi hovacha Yajnavalkyah Udyasyan va are ahamasmat Sthanat Asmi Hantate Anaya Katyayanya Antam Karvani Iti. So, Maitreyi iti hovacha Yajnavalkyah. Yajnavalkyah calls his wife. Which wife? Maitreyi. See, before that I would like to also tell you that this entire Brahmana, this entire section of second chapter, fourth section, which is known here as Brahmana. The sections are in Brhadaranyaka Upanishad known as Brahmana. So this entire Brahmana, fourth one, is named after Maitreyi. Is named after the Shishya, disciple, and not after the name of the Guru. That is the importance that is given to Maitreyi here. Maitreyi is such a person and a woman. You see, we think that women were not given importance at that. But in Vedic times, there were some women very intelligent. There is another woman who occurs in this Upanishad itself, Gargi. You must have heard about her. Maitreyi and Gargi, they were women of knowledge. Atmajnani. Maitreyi is also such a woman, and there was another, Gargi. She defied Yajnavalkya. She posed many questions before. She herself was that knowledgeable. So, this is the importance. Just as in Chandogya Upanishad you find Shvetaketu Vidya. Actually, his father, Shvetaketu, is a student. And his father, Uddalaka, is his teacher in Chandogya Upanishad. And it is Uddalaka Rishi, sage who gives him the knowledge of Tattvamasi, that famous Mahavakya. Tattvamasi occurs in Chandogya Upanishad. And it is taught by Uddalaka, who happens to be the father of Shvetaketu, the son. But the chapter is known as what? Shvetaketu Vidya. So Shishya's students are that important. Nachiketa, is that in Kathopanishad, who is more famous? Nachiketa is very famous. So there are some students so striking, so intelligent, so ready, that they have become so important. And this was the place of woman at that time. She stood with man, not lagging behind in any way. So, the whole Brahmana is known by Maitreyi. Maitreyi Brahmana. Fourth one is known as Maitreyi Brahmana. And here she is an amazing person, amazing seeker. Like Nachiketa, of course, Nachiketa was too small. But she has also, when we read about her, when the information that we get from the Vedic literature, from Puranas also, even though she was married to Yajnavalkya, living a life of householder, but she was always detached, always very detached. Yajnavalkya had two wives, Katyayani and Maitreyi. Of them, Katyayani was looking after the home and homemaker, doing very well. But Maitreyi was always detached. She was always, right from the beginning, lost in her own thoughts, trying to find out the meaning of life in her own way. Must be thinking in her own way. And Yajnavalkya knew that. He always knew her. As to what this person is made of. What is her real character? He always knew that. And so now, Yajnavalkya has decided to take up sannyasa. Already he knows, but he wants to now give up and go. So he calls Maitreyi. We have to understand that even Katyayani was called, both of them are called. And then he declares, Udyasyanva are aham asmat sthanad. He says, are means, oh my dear. Very affectionately, he addresses his wife. Oh my dear. But we'll see the now relationship has changed. Now the relationship has changed. He very dearly calls her. He says, oh my dear. And declares that now I desire to, I'm going to renounce this life. Udyasyan means I want to go above this stage of life. The stage of Garhastya, the householder, is one stage. See, in our Sanskriti, beautifully, first stage of life, roughly our life is divided into 4 stages. Brahmacharya, life of study, going in Gurukulam and serving the teacher and getting the knowledge of Vedas. Then you take up the life of Grihastha, householder. Then you mature from that also. Then take up the life of Vanaprastha, where both of them leave samsara, both of them leave the home, and together they become friends, and together they follow life of austerity and worship. Each stage, if you live intelligently, prepares you for another one. Each stage of life is meant for growing. And then, after Vanaprastha comes life of sannyasa, means giving up. Now pursuing only knowledge, Brahma Vidya. Joining through Brahma Vidya. Then, why you take up sannyasa? So that even sannyasa should make you sannyasi. Sannyasa also is a life or a means taken up so that you become sannyasi. Sannyasi in the absolute sense of the word. See, understand, Atma is already sannyasi. Atma doesn't have to become a sannyasi. When can you give up something? When you have first taken up. If I am holding this, I can give up. Give up, Swamini. But if I have never taken it up, then there is no question of giving it up. What is the nature of Atma? Atma is beyond karma. Atma never performs karma. Atma is already a sannyasi. Doesn't hold anything. Is already free. Free from karma. Free from samsara. But to know such a nature of the self, understand, to know this nature of the self, which is all asangaha, all unconnected, free from any kind of connections, to know this nature of the self You take up a life which is called sannyasa, where you formally give up actions so that you can now, without any guilt feeling, without any demands upon you, you can pursue this life. So our society gives the sanction for that. Therefore comes formal vidhi of taking sannyasa, which is actually called vividisha sannyasa. Which is actually called what? Vividisha sannyasa. Where sannyasa is taken. You officially go through the vidhi to take up this life. Where sannyasa is taken to know Atma, which is already a sannyasi. Understood? So that is called Vividisha sannyasa, where even sannyasa as a lifestyle becomes a means. Atma is already sannyasi. Everybody is sannyasi in that sense. Everybody is already a sannyasi, whether they know about it or do not know. Why? Because even if you take yourself to be a jiva or a person living life of grihastha or anything, you are a sannyasi as far as the nature of Atma is concerned. Because Atma is already sannyasi. But one who comes to know this and one who abides in this is called what? Vidvat sannyasi. Is called what? Vidvat sannyasi. Vidvat sannyasa means what? A person knows that Atma is free from everything, totally nirguna, nirakara, nirvishesha, no karma, nothing, already free, and abides in that. He has nishtha in that, which means he doesn't now have to remember that I am this, I am so. He is already abiding in that. In that sense, when this knowledge, when you abide in this knowledge, it is called what? Vidvat sannyasi. Understood? The difference between Vividisha sannyasi and Vidvat sannyasi. Vidvat sannyasi it is not necessary that you must have certain robes. You can be a Vidvat sannyasi even in any life. Janaka was like that. In history we find Janaka, it was called what? One of his names was Videha. He was a king, emperor. He had so many duties. What duty a king will not have? But still, he was famous as what? Videha. Why? Because he knew, I am sannyasi. I don't do anything. I don't perform any action. In my presence, everything is happening. I don't do it. Very clear. Not for a single moment did he identify with the body. Yes, his mind was working, even ruling the kingdom. Whatever was to be done, he was doing it, but still remaining Atma. He never identified. Karmani akarmayav pashyed. Karma is being performed by the body. Very clear. It was very clear to him. I don't do. Bhagavan says, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, who is a man of knowledge? Karmani akarmayav pashyed. When the karma is going on, when the body is performing, mind is thinking, speech is speaking. Even then, see, I'm speaking, but Atma is not speaking. In the presence of Atma, the words are coming out. You are also, ears are listening. What is the truth? Ears are listening. Eyes are looking at me. You are not looking. Who is not looking? Atma. Atma is not looking. Eyes are looking. In the presence of the self, eyes can do whatever it has to do. But Atma remains what? No action. For action to happen, first of all, desire has to be there. Plus, my hand can go from here to there when I can pick up this. It is here, and I can pick up. This is called action. But because my hand is not there, my hand is here and not there, so I have to pick it up. But this much space is there which I cover. Hand is able to cover because it's not there. For Atma, think. It is all pervasive. Where will it go? Where will it walk? Where will it do something? You understand what I am saying? There is nowhere that Atma is not. Plus it doesn't have limbs. No desire, no limbs, no space to do things. Nothing but Atma. Atma pervades in and through space. The gati is possible from one place to other because I am not there. I am here. From the room I came here because I was not here. But for Atma to come, self to come, can it come? The body came. The personality came. But Atma, always there. You understand? So, one who knows this is a real sannyasi, abiding in the nature of Atma. But, understand, to become such a sannyasi, you can, if you wish, lead a life which is compatible to knowing this. Understood? And that is called Vividisha Sannyasa, where certain seekers, formally, gurus, if they see that it is okay, prepared mind, then the Vairagya is there. So, it is safe to formally give them this sannyasa. So that now they can live a committed lifestyle, culminating hopefully in knowledge. You see? So, Yajnavalkyaji is now, he wants to do this so that he can totally now commit himself. So he calls his wife and says, I want to now grow. I want to now rise. Udyasyanva are aham asmat sthanat. I want to now arise from this present sthana, grihastha and rise to sannyasashrama. And for that purpose, I now divide. Here it is said, anaya te tava anaya katyayanya antam karvani. I want to now, here the translation that is given is, allow me to finish between you and Katyayani. The meaning is that, no finishing off. But what it means is that, now I will divide whatever wealth is there between the two of you. So far, I was there in your life. Both of you were connected because of me. But now since I am leaving, so that now I will divide whatever wealth we have between the two of you, so that you can live comfortably. See, it is so nice of him. And this shows that he is a very, very responsible person. Not just walking away. You can't walk away like that. People are connected to you. People are dependent upon you. You have your responsibilities towards them. You just cannot say, now I'm walking away. What about them? You want to walk away. You want to live a life of pursuing knowledge. They may not want it. They have to live their life. And for that, security is required. Everything is required. Have you provided? You have taken up their responsibility. Now fulfill that. First provide for them. Then you go. You just can't walk away. Such people cannot be that irresponsible. Some people do that. We hear that. Some people do that. But that is not the ideal way of going. You leave so many scars by taking that kind of irresponsible actions. Yes, of course, Bhagavan will then take care, but it becomes our responsibility. Yajnavalkyaji seems to know all this. He is very well versed with this. And so, he calls his wife and takes their consent. It is to be understood. Takes their consent that I want to go. See, you have to take blessings of everyone. Everybody's cooperation is required. You can't just hurt people left and right and do what you want to do. They have been with you so far. It was a beautiful life so far, living together. And now, have their blessings, have their consent. In every way, it is needed. So, Yajnavalkya ji says that. He declares that now I want to go. And I will divide my wealth between the two of you. So that you are not left in lurch. You are not left in lurch. Women needs that protection, particularly in that society. So, I should be responsible for that. So he does that. And it seems Katyayani was happy with what she got and she leaves. That's fine. But as I said, Maitreyi was different. All along, she was a different partner. See, you have relationships at different levels. When two people are together, different relationships are at different levels also. Maitreyi enjoyed a different relationship with Yajnavalkya. He was a match to his intellect. So, and as I said, she was always a different person, always lost in her thoughts, always dwelling upon. She would be lost, be in a solitary place, and thinking about truth and whatever. She was in her own way searching that. So now, when she hears this, she is not going to let him go just like that. And in the most beautiful manner, she asks a very good question, which you will see, which we will reserve for next class. She has been a real partner. And we can see from the questions she asks and the way he replies, from that we can see that he also respects her. He also respects her. And has no second thoughts in teaching what she wants to know. Just as Lord Krishna, when Arjuna asked him that question in the middle of the battlefield, when the war is imminent, and at that time Arjuna is asking, you tell me what is the absolute truth. I am not interested in fighting. Hey, then why did you bring me here? Why did you make me your charioteer if you didn't want to fight? But Lord Krishna could see, no, this is the right moment. They say, strike when the iron is hot. Lord Krishna also saw that. Yes, now the mind is all ready. Arjuna, even if I will ask him to fight, he will not be able to fight unless this question is solved. And this is what life is meant for. Life is meant for this. And when that time has come, there is no reason to delay. Why should you postpone it? Not tomorrow. You first finish this fighting, then we will talk in some other room. In tent, we will talk about this. No. Bhagwan, Lord Krishna was perhaps waiting for this day, was waiting for this moment as it were. And so, even though Arjuna asked in the middle of the battlefield, Lord Krishna right there and then smiled first. First smiled. Arjuna is crying. There are tears swelling in his eyes. And Lord Krishna is smiling. Not laughing, but smiling. Sometimes there is a different kind of smile. As if saying, now you are on the right path. Now, Arjuna, you are on the right path. And then he, there itself, says There is no reason to grieve at all. Ashocyan anvashochastvam. There is absolutely no reason to grieve for. Similarly here, Yajnavalkya waits and replies to Maitreya and gives her the teaching which she wanted. And but before that, Maitreyi asks a very pertinent question. That you are giving up, you want to go away, if and give us wealth. If wealth was everything, then why do you want to give up? You want to give up, that means it is nothing. That means it is not important. And you are leaving us with this? Then she asked certain questions, which shows what metal Maitreyi is made of. Not an ordinary person, not an ordinary woman at all. She is all fired up, all ready. She is already a renunciate. She is already, Yajnavalkya will literally be going, taking up sannyasa. She may not go. She may stay back there only. But she is also, her the framework of her mind is nothing but that of a sannyas. So this we will see from her very question in the next class. Thank you. Om Purnamataঃ Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.